David, can you bring me up? Can you bring me up, David? Great. Can you bring the house lights up? Just so I can see everyone's beautiful face. Hi. The piece is called New World. It's a collaborative performance and sound piece by Lenka Ludova and Sean O'Brien, both students in the studio for Interrelated Media. It was performed by Lenka Ludova and Glenna von Nostrand. The sound design was by Patrick Mulligan. The lighting was by David Thacker. It was made possible with technical support from Jack Fahey, Bruce Bowen, Shauna Hoffman, and our own Nancy Davies. So thank you very much. Can I have the screen, David? Super, thank you. So we talk about lines in space, right? And it's amazing what can happen with some silver body paint and some slinkies, right? So the sound is not only occupied in the performer, the sound is embodied in the room itself. The way the sound moves, it's physical, through the physical expression of her body, through the manipulation of the line, the sound is expressed outward. It's also conducted through electricity. And the body, as she moves across the stage, she creates a composition. Now, people are going to tell you that form and content are two different things. That's not true. It's just not true. Because everybody has a body. Your body has a form, right? Body has a form. Mine is a little corpulent, and it has content because I have stuff inside of me. I'm a bag of water, just like most of the rest of you carbon-based life forms. But I have content, I have thoughts, I have emotion, I have all this stuff. So form and content come together in the body. And as the body moves through space, it's an expression of content. So in the performance that we saw tonight, it was a lot about the way the line and the shape functions in the space, and that's what tonight's lecture is going to be about. Conceptually, right, I think that a lot of people take the line for granted, right? But let's imagine something. Let's imagine that there's nothing, right? Let's imagine that the whole world is gone and the world is void and there was a mist upon the waters and all that stuff, right? If you can imagine nothing, then you can imagine something. So that one something that you imagine, let's call that a point, okay? If you can imagine 1 point, you can imagine 2 points. If you can imagine 2 points, you can imagine a line. If you can imagine one line, you can imagine another line, and an infinite amount of lines to build up to shapes. But the important thing here is that the universe is created from nothing to something. It's the idea that there can be a point that can turn into a line, that can turn into a shape. Once you have a shape, and you imagine another point, then you have form. Once form begins to move, you have time. This explains everything from the global positioning system to the invention of the universe. If you can imagine one thing, you can imagine its absence. If you can imagine one thing, you can imagine more than one of that thing. And when you start to imagine those things in relationship, that's when you have the concept of space and time. So space and time, it seems like it's a four-dimensional thing, but it's really a two-dimensional thing. Because the minute you start to develop the idea of space in a two-dimensional plane, you're dealing with the idea of time. Remember when I showed you the pictures of the Annunciation with the angel entering on the left and the Virgin on the right? Remember? I was here, right. That's an imagination of time. It's an expression of time. Okay. So line is the outgrowth of the connection between 2 points. It's also the path traced by a tool or an instrument as it moves across a surface. Or I would add, it's also the path traced by a person as they move through space. Lines can be drawn, cut, painted, bent, constructed, imagined, or implied, right? So these are all the different properties of line. They can be real, they can not be real. You can sense them but not see them.